I got a friend.
I'm happy to see they did that. So props, guys. They were all putting their faces out there. Let's hope that the negative elements for various movements don't go to hurt anybody unnecessarily. You know what I mean?
No violence.
Yeah, let's just have a talk. You know what I mean? That's what I'm happy to see.
Like I said, that's what the country actually speaking.
I do gotta ask you one thing though. If Hillary would have won, you would be out here?
I'd be out here just as angry, man. For sure. I was against her from the start. She's just as...
Now let me ask you, who were you for?
Believe it or not, I was a Trump supporter at least up until around this time. Up until I think actually post-election is when I started looking away.
Why post-elections?
I started looking into politics a little more for myself. I was really more one of the people who kind of went along with a lot of what my parents said.
Right.
My parents had very strong opinion which I didn't think it was a big deal for a long time. I still don't think it's a big deal. You have the right to your opinion, but it was more like it was a whitewash of opinions all over me as a child. So I never.
Now, why you said you were a Trump supporter?
I was. All right, guys. Thanks for your time.
Question, do you have
What
Facebook or Instagram?
policy-wise made you turn away?
I think specifically it was the thing with Islam. In fact, I used to be very now I'm not going to say.
He didn't say. See, I don't mean to cut you off. Yeah, I do like a healthy exchange of ideas here. He said radical Islamic terror, and the countries on his quote-unquote Muslim ban list were also banned by Obama. So what he's doing, nobody's denying the fact that many of the attacks, like the attack in England recently, the attack in Orlando, the attack in San Bernardino, yes, these were American-born citizens, but there were American-born citizens of immigrants from terrorist hotspots, either radicalized here or radicalized from birth. America has always been... I forgot to bring my spit bottle, so I feel like a douchebag. But
We're walking a long way.
Right, but it's always been a multiracial society. But wouldn't you agree that stopping people, from places that are radicalized is a good idea?
A violent population.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, and sometimes I get worried because doing those things.
Entirely against what?
Entirely against radicalism. I actually,
as are most sane human beings,
Who aren't either supporters themselves.
I don't understand. That's one thing I don't understand. Why this country is just totally.
What would you consider yourself right now then? More of a centrist, libertarian?
No, I am an anarchist. I'm a solid anarchist.
Like a Larkin Rose follower?
It's kind of, I don't know. I mean,
Larkin Rose is pro open borders. And anytime he gets owned in debates, he likes to block people on Facebook. I'm real familiar with the anarchy crowd.
I don't like that. I don't like kids like that. And actually, that's the thing is, I think
That's a poor choice.
American anarchism is poison.
Now, are you ANCAP or Ancom?
I'm an anarchist synthesis. I believe that no one economic system is ever going to actually exact needs. What we need to do is really just the police are just standing there and everybody's fluid, kind of. That's something you're saying.
Right.
Not something that. Not something where we have to always assume there's going to be a class where people are screwed.
Well, in capitalism, here's what happens. Capitalism is a meritocracy. The harder you work, the better you work, the more you apply yourself, the more money you'll make. And what I've noticed is these socialists, especially the poorest, even the rich socialists,
which is an oxymoron.
Exactly.
There's a few of them out here in the county.
Yeah, but even the rich socialists they're not very charitable. They're not very giving. They're willing to pass. They're willing to try and get a law passed. Let's say you make $100,000 this year. They want a law passed where you could, you got to be taxed more to pay for these poor people. Well, wait a second. You make like $10 million a friggin' year. Why can't you give some of your money to help feed these people?
Exactly, I agree with you. It's like I said, it's extremely oxymoron. My rich person is saying, like, oh, it's like, they're not, man. It sucks. Don't lie. Like, you know that you had to use resources around.
He's not a commie. He's all right.
Like, it's in my back pocket.
He's doing good. He's doing good.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing I don't like. I've been doing that.
Okay, well, the problem is you're coming out here. You look like an Antifa.
I do look like an Antifa.
You do look like an Antifa.
I mean, I have the anti-fascist pin on. I get why people
Right.
say like Antifa, but it's like, hey man, like,
You understand there was supposed to be a large Antifa presence out here.
I heard about that.
And that's why you're gonna have some people yell some shit, but you know what I mean. It is what it is. I talked shit to a couple Bernie supporters up there.
That's fine.
There was 2 Bernie guys here?
Yeah, the two guys. One of them had his face covered. They were vaping with a van with a bunch of fucking stickers. One of them had Bernie. Yeah.
I never saw the van. They were trying to go to this protest over here, but they got lost all the way south that way. Yeah. So, oh wow. They were Bernie guys?
There were a couple. Yeah, they were Bernie guys. They had a.
How many Bernie guys left right now? What the fuck?
I don't know how anybody could still support Bernie after all the bullshit that because he sold out to Hillary for a ride in a private jet. He took all of the contributions and bought a 3rd house.
Oh Lord! Didn't you hear? Of course he fucking did.
Yeah.
God damn it, Bernie!
So fucked up.
Yeah.
That drove me away from it. That's why I'm an anarchist. I hate politicians.
I'd like to believe that anarchy can work, but right now there's way too much trash in America that
I do agree with you on that. I think that's why, that's why the Antifa kids are out there, they're fighting for it now. I'm like, wait, that's not how it works. We're not ready.
Nah.
You don't change the form of government overnight.
Let's see Antifa.
Look at the USSR, when you get Stalin.
Look at Syria. Remember Syria in the beginning of the Arab Spring? Remember that a couple years ago?
Yeah.
They were all so many different, Western influence groups were coming in, looking for capitalism, looking for civilian rights against their government. Yes. And then the Muslim extremists came in and fucked it all up.
Well, the thing is,
they had more guns, more funding, and it fucked everybody else out of the conversation.
That's what scares me about when people talk about things like revolution. Look at the USSR. They were fighting for something they really believed in, and they were helping people at first.
Yeah. The Tsar was fucked up.
Power and time.
The Tsar was a shithead. Anyone would say the Tsar was a shithead.
Yeah, but look at all 50 million Christians were murdered.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
between 25 and 50 million.
These things are evil.
And
and shit. Yeah.
I'm not a Christian. But I grew up around Christians, and they are some of the nicest, most charitable people around. We're not talking about Republican Christians. I'm just talking about, we're not talking about Pat Robertson fucking shithead Christians. I'm talking about, Christians in general are some of the nicest fucking people in the world, and a lot of people think Christians are only being good because they're scared of hell. No, they're good people because they were raised good. They might believe in a God and all that shit.
Being a good person, what it does and the change.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Like I said, my mother's a Christian. She raised me well. She raised me good. She raised me with morals and ethics.
Yeah.
I agree with that too.
Who would you say is your biggest inspiration in anarchy?
Oh, when it comes to anarchism, Emma Goldman. I'm deeply inspired by the she's an anarchist without adjectives, which I love. Because you brought up the Ancom thing. Everybody brings that up to me when I tell them I'm an anarchist.
Right.
Neither of them.
Right.
Because I don't think either one of those systems are necessarily working.
Capitalism's great. Look, I mean, beyond all the shit, that went on, because as soon as I mentioned, look how great America was when it was capitalist. We're not capitalists. We're crony capitalists becoming socialists. We're about a 60% socialist country. But
that high, you think?
we're taxed here in California with state taxes, I live in LA County, county sales taxes. I say at least 60% of my income goes to some sort of government office.
Special interest bullshit.
Yeah.
They're taking your money and wasting it.
Yeah. The high-speed rail. The high-speed rail, the whole, you know, crooked deal that Feinstein made.
And how do we stop that as civilians? How do we say, hey, this deal's going to hurt our communities? How do we stop it?
We need Augusto Pinochet to rise from the dead and purge the communists from American society. Just a whole fleet of Apache helicopters. Say, hey, commies, I'm gonna take you on a fun ride. And
no helicopter rides. No
helicopter rides. Free helicopter. Come on.
Free helicopter rides. Come on. Look, we can change their minds. We can. Look.
We've been trying to change their minds for years. They've only gone further left.
But look what happened. Look, Hillary and her crew and Bernie's crew decided that instead of trying to unite the different factions, they decided to just split everybody apart further and further and further. You're racist, you're deplorable, you're horrible on one side, or you're with us and you're a good person.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, everyone kind of played into this shit.
Wow.
You let them run the conversation as opposed to saying, no, fuck you guys, we're not going to divide all of America like that, you know? But we should disagree. America should always disagree with each other. We should always be able to do that. Without feeling like I totally hate you as a person. I think you're just automatically an evil person for believing differently.
We need everyone to become okay with generalizations. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Because the left has always forever been generalizers or hate everyone with the red brush.
Yeah.
Well, fuck, you guys are doing the same exact thing. I mean, you're calling every Trump supporter a fascist. Well, that's not true. You guys are not fascists.
I'll agree. There are fascist. There are fascist elements in the fringe wings.
Yes, exactly.
Hell,
there are
right now.
Richard Spencer is a fascist. You know.
Well,
but I look at it.
Spicer, am I wrong?
Spencer. Richard Spencer. He's the NPI guy.
Yes.
It's been so hard to get this today.
All that stuff was like, shoving and pushing. So I'm like, well, this is coming off.
Well, what happened, from what I understand, is I didn't get here in time. They tried to block the march, and they didn't do a very good job. I guess walls don't work when they're made out of 110-pound weaklings.
Well, and the thing is, anybody, like I said, anybody trying to get political discussions.
There we go. Hey, that's you know what?
That's
the biggest thing I wanted to hear the other people.
Okay. And your
We don't
name?
offer plea box.
Your name?
Christian.
What's your last name?
Cole, C-O-L-A.
And so you came to be part of the resistance today?
The counter.
So how do you think that all worked out?
Thanks for helping. I mean, nobody was seriously injured. I don't think there were many arrests. So honestly, I think it was pretty good. I'm glad nobody was harmed.
There was one arrest?
I had a few people. I heard.
There was also one guy who got clocked in the face. Yeah, I was like right there. I saw it. I was sitting like right over here. And this kid.
Yeah, I had some of that. I had some good conversations.
Oh, I couldn't even talk to him. I'm not even sure. I think the kid might have just gotten.
All right.
In there, and thank you. Visually speaking, I could not tell that side.
He didn't have a shirt or a hat or anything?
Nothing like that. His face wasn't covered. He wasn't covered.
Wait,
All
who?
I saw, the kid was getting wrecked.
Oh.
Because this big dude, the big dude that I'm not trying to make you guys look bad at all, but he did have a MAGA hat.
Yeah.
He was, and I get up to the kid.
Was he in a red shirt as well? What was he wearing, the other guy?
Yeah, he was wearing, dude, I think he had like blue pants and a red shirt or something.
It all comes down to you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. You try to block a peaceful march, you know.
I agree, that's a stupid idea. When they started blockading, I was like...
But you didn't come out here to block. You came to hold up a
I came
sign.
out here to hold my sign up, to talk with people, to play some music, to win hearts and minds. Not with my fists, not with my feet. That's what primitivists and idiots do.
Yeah, wrestlers. I mean, look at that. Even like trying to hold them against their will. That's basically what they were trying to do. We're not going to let you move freely in a public space. Yeah, that's bringing the whole conversation down. You know, like I'm like a center.
Your name? I'm sorry, let me get this.
Eric. Last name Sewell, S-E-W-E-L-L. I mean, Santa Ana right now. Yeah. Yeah, and as like I wanted to come out here and do what we're doing right now, talk to people from the opposition. You know, it doesn't have to all be, you know, fights in the streets, people talking shit on Facebook. It needs to be more
There's my crew.
in the flesh to you all
Trying to get their
You're
attention.
not, you're trying to hate. Not everyone here is full of hate on the right, and hopefully not everyone on the left feels the same way. And look, we're people on the left over here. Well, common anarchists.
Anarchist. He's not an
I'm not a
Ancom.
liberal, and I'm not a Republican.
And it's interesting that I heard. Actually, I talked to some of the young guys with the face, that had their faces covered earlier. These guys had them covered early, but then they took them off when we were open with them and talked to them. So there was some dialogue, there was some changes being made, and I appreciate that. And I want to thank you guys again for doing that, because the guys who covered their faces, a lot of them said they were college aged. They said they were socialists. What exactly? Socialists.
Thor!
Mostly socialists.
Thor!
And they were young college guys mostly. And I asked why they're racist. I asked them like in a polite tone, respectful, low volume, and they told me that we were worried about being doxxed. That we're about information being made available online, people harassing us, and I'm like, I'm trying to tell them, listen, if you want to have a dialogue in person with somebody, anonymity is hurting your movement. It makes the opposition feel like you're a threat that we can't see, we can't talk to.
Orange County Register. I was having a conversation with you. They're not Antifa. They just look the part. They just look the part. They're not commies or anything like that. He actually was a Trump supporter. He was a Trump supporter, but he's an anarchist.
I think I'll make a nice smoke break.
There's more.
But at least he said this. I asked him. I said, if Hillary would have won, would you be out here? He's like, yes, I would be out here just as angry.
And remember the fascist guy, right?
If he was legally elected, yes.
Like what was that? They had that one weird. What was the guy? The fascist guy that had that weird. It was kind of like a swastika, but it wasn't. Remember that one?
I know what you're talking about.
The one guy had it. Remember that one? He had the semi swastika on his shirt.
There you go.
They came later in the march, didn't they? Those guys?
Yeah, they did.
The 3 or 4 guys.
there we go. How's
Fascist
that?
guys.
With the big.
That'll work.
Yeah, the giant banner they had. Yeah.
Jose does that Star Spangled Banner yet?
I saw some guy with the Goyim No Now or something thing. You saw that one too.
I didn't see that, but I would have laughed.
I know this because as a center rightist, I don't want our movement to be typecast as we're anti-Jew, we're anti-black, gay, whatever. It shouldn't be divided along ethnic or religious lines or orientational lines. You know, I say from my personal perspective, as a biracial person, you know, a bisexuality person, and a vegetarian. And I've been on a lot of sides of this issue. We should all be open to dialogue. Shouldn't be put in boxes like that. I don't like that.
Anything you would like to add?
Yeah. My name's Tim Morris. I live in Northridge. I wasn't here for the start of it, but from what I gathered, Antifa tried to block the march, and like I said before, it all comes down to play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You try to block a peaceful march, you know, and they got marched through, from my understanding. So, I mean, I don't agree with these guys, but you know, I believe in freedom of speech. I believe the Nazis should have a platform. I believe the commies should have a platform. I think you should be able to hear communists so you can really hear how freaking dumb they are, you know?
The problem is,
and yeah, exactly.
the problem is you have Republican, Democrat, and other.
Yeah.
There's not much other left right now.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Is we're all bunched up into one category, third party.
Basically.
And
Our two parties.
you know, I was a libertarian for years, but you know, the entire last election, I'm still, you know, I wish Ron Paul would have won in 2008. I wish Rand Paul would have won in 2016, but this is what we got. And you know, if Rand Paul would have been for a while, I think he would have won the election.
How do you feel about how Trump has done the first 2 months?
I didn't expect him to do so much. I expected him to get stonewalled by Congress, and a lot of us knew that. A lot of us knew that, you know, they would try to stop a lot of the things that he's done. I'm glad that Ryan Care failed. You know, I'd rather I'd rather wait 6 months to a year to have a better plan in place than Obamacare light. You know, Rand Paul has a fantastic healthcare plan that you could read on his website. You know, there's no proof. There's been communication, but
would that worry you at all?
not at all. Why do we hate Russia? Russia's not communist anymore.
I'm from Alaska. They're my neighbor.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Russia's not. I think that's why the Democrats are mad about Russia, is because they're still pissed that they gave up communism years ago. But you know, I don't. I mean, what's wrong with the dialogue between the U.S. and Russia? Nobody's saying Putin's an angel. Nobody's saying that, you know, he's George Washington or Abraham Lincoln. But why the hate towards Russia? Russia is capitalist. The Soviet Union's been broken up for
40 years.
30 years now, you know? So there's no hacking. There's no evidence of hacking. There's plenty of evidence, video evidence of the DNC doing all kind of you know, crazy stuff, and none of them, you know, nobody cares about that, but they want to say Russia, 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 you know, like it's this giant boogeyman. You know,
They're grasping at anything they can get.
they're grasping at any excuse to make up for Hillary. Hillary lost. Hillary was the worst candidate in the history of American
I hate
politics.
to say this, but Palin would have been a better choice.
Yeah. You know?
He's from my state.
Yeah. Hillary, the worst candidate in the history. She almost, Ben Shapiro said it best. She almost lost the primary to a disheveled, you know, septuagenarian socialist asylum escapee. You know, and then she lost the general election to a guy who basically had a tape come out on him saying that he liked to grab women by the privates. You know, and I didn't care about that tape. Guys talk like that all the time. Sorry, I know you're a woman, but we talk about that all. We talk about shit like that all the time.
Girls talk about it.
And you girls. I could only imagine the conversations you have with your girlfriends. Not you, but your friends. You just overhear it, right? Okay. So I mean, people talk like that in private. You know, people, they're real people. Like, I'm in sales. I talk to customers of mine on phone, like, hey, how the fuck you doing? You know what I mean? And, you know, we bullshit, we gab. When you talk to friends, when you talk to other people in a general conversation, you swear, you say, you know, certain things. So
If you don't like it, either or just don't listen to it.
It's another thing, you know. So many people were outraged by what Trump said.
I got over there. I was at the head.
Who bought all those copies of 50 Shades of Grey?
I was following.
That's a lot of women not offended by a billionaire grabbing women by the pussy. You know what I mean?
And worse.
Yeah. So, you know, I look at issues. Like I said, I look at issues. Nobody here's against. I mean, okay, I'm not going to say nobody because I'm sure there are a couple friends people here. You know, most people aren't against immigration legally. Most people aren't against Muslim immigration as long as they you know, integrate in society. Look at that. The Goyim now. Shut it down. My shekels!
That's the guy with the I'm gonna try to talk to him too. You know what?
That's actually not okay. Like that's not.
It's a joke. It's an internet meme. We joke about that stuff all the time on Facebook.
Pepe would have been okay. He gotta put his Pepe on there. Then I would have got to go. Right now he missed me on that.
But I think what he has on that sign is like it's a little too much. Yeah, we want to be peaceful, you know?
Well, you know, sometimes there's a line, and sometimes people cross the line. I say,
as soon as you make somebody feel as though they have to protect someone, like that with that sign.
Oh, sweet daddy. Nice.
Yeah!
Well, thanks, guys. I just wanted to capture that peaceful conversation that's going on.
No problem. What's your name?
Thank you. I'm Deepa.
I'm Tim.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Charles.
Don't quote me out of context. I'm gonna look it up now. Hey, look at her. That's Deepa right there. Deepa was Barath? All right. I'm just playing, sweetheart. I know you won't quote me out of context. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Come on, you don't do it over here. Yeah, group kick. There you go. Okay.
Hail Pepe!
Free speech.
Free speech!
There we go, guys. Thanks.
Have a good one, guys. Hey, what's the hashtag you're gonna put it on? So I can find it.
I'm not on Twitter yet. I gotta figure out something.
You can do hashtags on Facebook too. Yeah.
Later, guys.
You can always just hashtag MAGA.
Hashtag MAGA or no, because there's going to be a million of them. But hashtag free speech.
There you go. Free speech HB or something.
Free speech HB. There you go. I'll look it up later.
Blue line, that's right. Woo! There you go.
So there were people actually out here to have a dialogue.
Not many.
We got this fucking guy right here.
Eric over here. There you go.
And, I really wish some Antifa would have, tried something with me, but, I actually...
One can dream, though.
One can dream. But...
I had a dream.
We had conversation. There was open dialogue.
Dude, I was referring to the dream of,
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you know what else? We have that quote right there. That's been forgotten one. And the black person that makes you one. There you go.
Make America great again.
That one right here. Good stuff, sir. There you go. I almost have some black folks out here talking and having this dialogue.
I'm more than happy with the diversity of ethnicity.
Yeah, I
See, the thing is this is voluntary. This was voluntary. Was voluntary. It wasn't forced.
Nobody was paid.
Yeah.
Or if they were, where's my fucking pay?
Right?
I didn't get shit.
I was thinking about joining Antifa just for the Soros paycheck. What do you think?
Ooh,
50 an hour, I'll take it.
I know, right?
That would have been a bad idea. Huh. I don't know if you would have fit in, though.
I know, right? Is my